And now, quickly moving on to the next fireside chat with none other than Cycle Pure Agarbatti. It gives me great honor and privilege to be welcoming this dignitary here on stage. So please help me in welcoming with the biggest round of applause to Mr. Arjun Ranga, CEO and Managing Director in Ranga Rao and Sons, Cycle Pure Agarbatti. And the interview will be conducted by Mr. Sreekanth Khandekar, one and only co-founder and Chief Executive Officer, Afaqs. So namaskara, vanakkam, and a very, very warm welcome to you. And over to Sreekanth, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Mr. Arjun. If you were to quickly take us through, you took to advertising quite early. I remember that, right? So if Mr. Arjun is a third generation entrepreneur now, right? Correct? And so I think while agarbattis have been a constant, what is the kind of production you have now? Just to give me a sense.
We are at about 12 billion agarbatti sticks a year, but I'd like to say we help about 6 billion prayers because one prayer is 2 agarbatti sticks. So
is that right?
6 billion prayers.
Wow. 6 billion prayers, that's a lot of prayers. Has it always been 2 agarbattis, or is it a standard like you used always?
Well, I like it to be more, but typically an Indian prayer is 2 agarbatti sticks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So if you were to quickly go through, the major phases of the brand, let's say, do you see 2, 3, 4 major phases like that?
Yeah, I think our brand evolved with the country. We are probably among the first startups post-independence. Grandfather started the business in 1948, immediately after India got independence. So the first phase would have been from 1948 to about 1960, 62, then 62 to 82, and then 82 to 2000, and post-2000. So probably 4 phases, and marketing challenges, market dynamics, socio-economic changes in the country, all of them went hand in hand. So.
Yeah, okay. So in fact, one of the questions I did have for you is that, the product is so deeply woven into the local culture, right? What are the so there are the normal challenges, marketing challenges that all products have. What are the special challenges for a product like this when it comes to advertising and promotion of the brand? And how important has the local language been for you in terms of advertising?
I think for us, the language that we speak is fragrance and prayer, which is all-encompassing and kind of personifies freedom and hope. So if you look at why the word cycle, this was in 1949 when grandfather created the first product. So just to give you all a background, agarbatti is kind of a commodity product, more or less. It was no different in 1948-49. Grandfather started the business. Agarbatti was sold in a tin box with about 100 sticks inside. Almost all the money was spent on packaging and not much on quality or fragrance. So he imported books from France. It took him 18 months to get books, set up a perfumery lab, and created our own fragrances. He believed that the core of any agarbatti is the fragrance, and he wanted to differentiate through fragrances. And hence, the first product that he launched became an instant success. The industry had not seen such a product. He did a lot of BTL activity, as we would call, to promote the product. There are a lot of stories there. And then in 1950, when he launched, when he went into the stores, people started to identify the product by the color of the packaging. And that's when he said, I need to have a brand that is agnostic of language in India, that unifies everybody. And that's how we came up with the word cycle, because a cycle is called a cycle in every language in India. No matter where you go, there's no local language, there's no different way to communicate it. A symbol is very, very easy to understand, personifies hope, it's powered by your own will, it's eco-friendly, just like how prayer is and God is. It's same for everyone. And that's how we came up with the word cycle. And the first advertising tagline that we had in 1950 was Cycle Brand Agarbatti, as simple and affordable like a cycle. And that was the first tagline he had in 1951. The first ad he took out was in 1952 to get dealers to come to get our product. And then the rest is history. We were the first ones to actually advertise in Ceylon radio as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Okay. You said that there are a lot of interesting stories around the BTL activities. Could you narrate one or two? I'm sure they'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think one of the stories I've talked about in many forums as well. What grandfather did, typically there were 100 sticks for 1 rupee. The product that he launched was 25 sticks for 1 rupee. It was super premium in those days. So when he went to an outlet to sell the product, the first time he was doing it himself. He was going shop to shop and selling, as was the case in 1949, so 1950. So when he went to these stores, they said, we are not getting it. It's too expensive. Nobody's going to pay for it. So he said, I'm not coming here to sell it. I'm just going to light one stick in each shop. So he went about lighting a stick in every shop, 50 shops in the beat. The next day when he went back to the shop, the shopkeeper said, at least 10% of them said, people were asking for it, can you give me the product? He said, no, I'm not going to give you the product. You can't afford it. So the second day he changed his communication. He said, you can't afford it, but I'm going to light 2 sticks this time. So he lit 2 sticks. The subsequent day when he went, the third day, he got even more inquiries. Almost 25% of the store said, people who came here wanted it, they loved the fragrance, we want the product. He said, I'm still not going to give it to you. I'm just going to give you 1 pack, take it home and light it at home, and then come back to me afterwards. So he gave packs to all the 50 stores. They took it home, lit it at home, enjoyed it. He didn't go back to the market for 5 days. He went subsequently the next Wednesday. When he went there, like they say, it was dhamaka ho gaya tha dukaan pe. So every shopkeeper said, my wife likes it, I want it now. Right? And so that's how he placed the product. A sampling is what he realized is the best form of advertising. And that was the first product that we launched, Cycle Sugandha Mallika. It's become a legendary brand today. And that's how we launched the product.
Fabulous. Great story. Or take it home. Huh? The wife will figure out the rest. So one of the things I was asking is that when you look at advertising for a product which has very strong religious connotations, are there any limitations that poses? I mean, is there something you have to watch out for which would not be typical in a normal product category?
I think you need to, whenever you work with an agency, you need to always ensure that the creative team stays within the boundaries of what is your brand ethos and values. But there's no limitation to hope, freedom. That's what prayer actually gives you.
Correct.
Right? So the various campaigns we've done, we've gone to the extremes in quite a few things, but we've also made sure that we stay within the boundaries as much as possible. Even though my dad never wanted me to do that.
Your dad never wanted you to do what?
I'll just give you an example. Cycle 3-in-1 is our fastest selling and our highest selling agarbatti brand. And Dad created that in 1981. The story is again very interesting. Our Sugandha Mallika sales had slowly started to slow down in a few markets. They went into the stores. As is the case, I think spending time in the market, there's nothing like it. So all of you marketing guys, don't listen to your planners as much. Please go spend, even creative guys, please spend time in the market as much as you can. Account managers, more than anybody else, should spend more time in the market. That being said, Dad always believed spending time in the market is important. One of the feedbacks he got is consumers now want to try something different, but they'll try something else 2 times and then come back to Sugandha Mallika. So he said, then why don't I give them 3 different fragrances in one pack itself, so that then they keep changing within that. So that's how Cycle 3-in-1 came about. It was a genius idea. 3 different fragrances in one pack.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And it has continued to do well since.
Yeah, it is the largest sold agarbatti brand in the world today. So
that's really fabulous.
Yeah. So these, when you create something that is very personalized yet mass, this is all before the word masstige and all of those came in. This was in 1981. So today it's the highest selling product for us as well.
You also took to television quite early, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Radio and television, extremely important. I think my dad's an engineer with an MBA, but quite a few of the creative thinking has come from him. Agarbatti industry, just to give you all a background, is very, very unique in the sense that in terms of distribution, there are specific dealers called agarbatti dealers who sell agarbatti products across. They do that for all agarbatti manufacturers. They are a very, very essential part of our value chain to reach customers and reach retail. However, it becomes very trade-driven. Dad saw that as a challenge, and we built our own FMCG network from 1979, where we have our own distributors. We have today 1,300 company sales reps, total sales team of about 2,000 who take our products to close to 8 lakh outlets directly, we reach 15 lakh outlets indirectly, and we have 4,500 company distributors. So when we built this network in 1979, we realized without consumer pull, we are not going to be able to go forward, and that's when we started aggressive advertising from 1980 onwards.
So when did you first go on television?
I think Doordarshan, Chitrahar, I think many of you may not have been born then. So yeah, that's when we got onto
That's
television.
really amazing. Yeah. That's really amazing, actually, especially in a category which has been so commodity-oriented. For an entrepreneur to think of going in for TV so early, that's really remarkable. I think Nirma must have gone on around the same time.
Yes, I think Nirma is an example of what you can do by creating consumer pull. So.
Yeah. One of the things I want to ask you is that, the context in which we pray, the essential prayer may be the same, but the context in which we pray, for example, we have many more, say, nuclear families, okay? We've got air conditioning now, all right? Or it could be something else. It could be just the size of the house, the ventilation. How have these things impacted the use of agarbattis?
I think before I answer this question,
please.
The question that you asked me was about religious boundaries and how you manage the boundary.
I did.
I was building up to that answer, and then I, as usual, drifted away. So just to give you an example, this was 1985. Dad came back from his first foreign trip, 1982 in Chennai, 83 I think, first or second trip. And the customs officer stops my father, says, I want to check your bags. Then he asks him a further question, why have you traveled on business? What business do you do? So my father says, I am in cycle agarbatti. Immediately the customs officer stops Dad, calls the other 3 customs officers and says, he makes cycle 3-in-1. It is my first night agarbatti. Okay? First night agarbatti. I don't know if you're married or not, but first night is a very important, indulging occasion for most people. So the customs officer says that, and that Dad comes back and registers brand names called Mating Season, things like that, and actually launches products in that regard. So agarbatti had already moved out of the puja room and was part of the living room spaces as early as 1980 itself. However, the biggest usage of agarbatti was for prayer. And over the years, we have launched different brands positioned at different usages, not directly connected to prayer. For example, we have a brand called Leah Agarbatti, which was positioned as a fragrance product and moved it out of the living room as early as 2002 itself. We had a tagline called Every...
Format was in agarbatti.
Yeah, format still been in agarbatti because agarbatti is still, in India, it is the cheapest form of room freshener. For 60 paisa, 50 paisa, you can fragrance your whole house, literally. And that's the potency. And if you see what agarbatti has become today, it's kind of transcended religion and become a spiritual product. Like Kate Moss has her own agarbatti brand. In the West, it is no more the Indians who are the diaspora, it is the local populace who uses it. With yoga, Ayurveda kind of transcending, it's become mass. So coming back to your answer, yeah, Dad always wanted me to push the boundaries beyond prayer. I didn't take that risk. I'm comparatively a very conservative guy. In hindsight, I should have listened to my father, just like most of us realized 10 years too late. That being said...
So what are you doing about it now?
Well, I have launched new products. We have home fragrances under Iris as a brand name. We've created different brands for different indulgent...
But that's a different format, right?
No, there is incense as well in that as well, but the formats are different also. So,
tell me one thing.
Your second question about prayer. So we do a spirituality survey very regularly because we are in the prayer business, right? So we do a study once in 3 to 4 years.
What do you try to...
We just check if people are continuing to pray and what do they use to pray. It's very simple.
Okay, very nice.
And what we've realized is around 2000 to 2008, God was not cool. Today, he's completely back with a bang post-COVID. He's cooler than ever. Right? And indulgence. And in the Indian cultural fabric, praying has become an integral part of tradition and ritual that is getting passed down from generation to generation. And so the next generation continues as the family becomes nuclear, moves away from home. Prayer is something that they're continuing. And it is my responsibility and using the support of my advertising friends here to ensure that the indulgence continues with agarbatti as well, right? Because that is the simplest form of prayer. Just imagine a mother lights 2 agarbatti sticks, right? You paid 1 rupee for it, literally, for 2 sticks. And your entire hopes and dreams, your kids' education is intertwined with those 2 agarbatti sticks. Their hopes, their future. A businessman in a factory lights agarbatti sticks. You open your new store, that's what it does. Chandrayaan launch, they prayed with agarbatti sticks and broke a coconut. Anything that happens, the Rolls Royce walks out of the showroom in Delhi, it's agarbatti that does the puja. So it doesn't matter what it is. So hopes are kind of intertwined. And with that, I realized, because it is about the future, we need to be very sustainable. So we are the only zero carbon incense manufacturer in India and in the globe. We completely offset our carbon footprint. And this year, we had planned to become plastic neutral, that is completely upcycle all plastic that we put out. We had planned to do it by 2028. We've done it in 2024 itself. So we're completely plastic neutral as well. We use IFRA certified fragrance ingredients in each of our products, completely safe.
But you know this thing about being plastic neutral, etc. Is this something you do because you want to do it, or is it something that consumers would expect from you?
Consumers today don't even expect it. They want a big box with more sticks that is very strong, right? But we are doing it because it's the right thing to do, and we are here for the long term, 75 years, and I'm looking at the next century, literally, to continue the legacy.
Tell me something. Just, I don't know if your spiritual survey shows this, or just based on what so much experience you have. Do you think the nature of what people pray for has changed? I mean, do we pray for the same things that our parents did?
No, I mean, everybody here is, I'm definitely sure my parents didn't pray for RCB, and all of us are praying tomorrow. That's a given. No, but that apart, no, I think prayers are still extremely simple. If I look at how my wife, who I love and adore, who is an example of the modern woman, she's a professional pediatrician, marathoner, which I have to learn from her, fitness freak, does 300 kilometers cycling, perfect, but she prays. And she chants the slokas her mother has taught her. She knows 4 slokas. She lights her 2 agarbatti sticks, lights the diya, and chants a shloka. Sometimes in the evening, if she's gone, she's now practicing for an Ironman, so she does this crazy swims. She's gone for a swim. If I'm home early, if I don't light the diya, I've had it that day, all right, and light the agarbatti. So there are a few things in our cultural fabric that gets passed on. The way we pray, what we offer remains constant. But to answer your question, this is extremely interesting. Brazil as a market rapidly developed after 2005 for agarbatti usage. In such a way, because of yoga and Ayurveda and spirituality, the yin-yang and the Eastern culture, you light an agarbatti stick, immediately the Eastern aura is created. And just like how it is cool for today's teenagers to go on TikTok, in those days it was to light agarbatti. So it has become a mass product, and they needed a reason to light agarbatti. So in Brazil, for example, our products don't have a brand name. It has a reason. There's a brand called Calling Money. There's a brand called Anti-Double Cross. There's a brand called Anti-Tobacco. There's a brand called Neighbor's Envy. So it is for anything that you can imagine that we pray for today is they need, okay, if I've got to go to exams, okay, study hard. There's a product called Study Hard. All right? So in markets that are just evolving with usage of agarbatti, they need that as a device to know why they're lighting that agarbatti in the West. But in India, I think agarbatti has evolved into becoming an offering and a part of ritual. So your prayers go along with it no matter what you're praying. And that's why the tagline, everyone has a reason to pray.
Everyone has a reason to pray.
Yeah.
How has your media, choice of media changed over the years?
Dad was a vehement believer in media. Right? I was slightly skeptical always. Because of GRPs, TRPs, SOV and all of that. But and of course press with ABC and other media, you all understand, you're all in the business. But he believed constant communication, recall is always critical. But as it has become today, branding and performance were issues that I always fought with, because ultimately creative minds can go wherever, but you always have a budget and you also have to deliver sales, right? But over the years, I have now realized that there is no second-guessing media communication through television. You identify your TG, you focus in the right way, stay consistent. slightly emotive, creative, with a reason to buy. If you're able to communicate, you know, it's a done deal. Even today, I strongly believe in it. So I've continued to be present on television, GEC predominantly, catering to my SEC audience. However, cricket is something you can't ignore in India, and our foray into cricket has been phenomenal for us. It's a story in itself.
Just briefly, like how did it start?
So we wanted to be in cricket, right? I mean, everybody wants to be part of cricket, and that's a no-brainer. So this was 2003 or 4, India's tour, Pakistan's tour of India for the first time after 10 years. It was telecasted on 10 sports. Just like how we all are now praying for RCB, I was praying for India's victory that morning, and matches are going to start day after tomorrow, literally. I get a call that night from media agency saying that, sir, you're going to get a call from 10 sports. You can decide what you want to do. 10 sports calls us directly, says we had a Korean brand that had committed to take the title sponsorship. They have backed out. And in one day, we can't find anybody who will take a decision over a phone call. With no creatives in place, with nothing in place. So we're calling everybody, are you interested? I said, what are you offering? So they gave me a 40% discount, and I negotiated down to 70 and said, right now if you say yes, I'll say yes. So my annual budget, literally, I put in that one series. All right, this is in 2004. And that was when Sehwag hit those insane number of runs. So we took Super 4, Super 6s, 10 Red Alert, 10 Sport Act. I said, whatever properties you have that you have not sold, you have to give it to me. So being, I wouldn't want to say, you know, a family business boy, I said, okay, this is my opportunity to squeeze. You seldom get an opportunity to squeeze media agencies. You all know that. So almost never, literally, right? So I said, yeah, but the paisa was sold after that, so there's no question. But that gave us unbelievable visibility. Suddenly the brand elevated. Well, there was Airtel, there was Hero, there was Cycle, all right, in the national space. What it did is my team and my trade got tremendous confidence in the brand. And we've continued with the cricket. We've selected careful properties. For example, the third umpire branding, out or not out decision always carries everyone as a reason to pray on it. So even today we are on cricket because of that.
Okay, folks, we have 4 minutes. But keep it short. Identify yourself, identify your company, and launch your question. Come.
Oh, with languages, so today Cycle 3-in-1 in Karnataka has Kannada written, 3-in-1 is written in Kannada, in Tamil Nadu is written in Tamil, in Kerala it's written in Malayalam, in Andhra Pradesh it's written in Telugu.
But about your advertising?
Advertising is local.
It's local.
Localized. And and another thing that I follow vehemently is all creative agencies pitch a 30-seconder and then do a down edit. I don't agree to that. I said do a 15-seconder and then do a separate 30-seconder. Write me a script for 15 seconds only. Right? And we do it in the local language itself. We don't do dubbing most of the time.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Like as you said, cycle is synonymous to prayers in the Indian households, right? But there are other brands like ITC as Mangaldeep, right? And also you have Ambika Darbarbati, which is again pre-independence. I think if my facts are right, it's about 1946 that they launched into the market. And they have that saying, which it's a link between the devotee and the God, divine. Right? The divine and the God. Bhagavan Tuniki Bhaktuniki Anusandharanam, right? So do you think like the other players, like especially now if you look at over the last couple of years, there are a lot of regional players which are also entering into the market, and I think with 35 to 40% market shares, which like even like ITC Mangaldeep has, Ambika Darbarbati has, do you think that really worries Cycle 3-in-1 or the cycle brand as such?
Oh, definitely. The industry is so fragmented. That worries me. That's why I'm here telling them a story, and I hope all of you here start using Cycle Agarbatti from tomorrow. And there is a reason why Cycle was invited here and not Ambika and Mangaldeep either. So
you're creating a hope.
No.
It's okay.
I'm requesting you to buy.
Does anybody else have a question? Where? Yeah, please, quick, please. We have only 1 minute and 46 seconds, so.
Hello. Yeah, this is Divnay from ClearTax. I head marketing there. Good to hear from you, sir. One thing which I want to understand from you, as a new age segment into business, you have been traditionally believing in media. What is your look with respect to social and digital media?
No, it's extremely important to be present on social. I spent almost 3-4 years going behind likes and followers, which was a stupid thing to do. Please don't do that. By the way, I use ClearTax for our GST, so thank you very much. We had initial troubles, but phenomenal product. Congratulations for that. I hope I get a discount in the next AMC. All right, that being said, I think I made a mistake initially of going to try to acquire new customers using social. As a big brand who's already in brick and mortar, I should have spent all my energy behind actually increasing loyalty with my existing consumer base, 6 billion prayers, which is what I've now repositioned my entire social media to do. So as to, so it depends on what your objective is, you define it right, sky is the limit on what you can do with social
So
and digital.
now you have a clear sense of what you expect from social
What
media?
I expect from social media and how much I'm going to burn on it as well. And there's no brainer to say that mass media, television is still more bang for the buck. That's, social media is good, you can target, but it's too expensive.
Okay, I think we've run out of time. So we have got 9 seconds to go. So I'm going to ask Mr. Arjun one very important question, which is, do you pray with 2 agarbattis or more than 2 agarbattis?
No, I pray with 2 agarbattis in the morning, 2 agarbattis in the evening, 2 agarbattis in the morning at office, 2 agarbattis at evening in the office. And wherever I go, I ensure everybody lights 4 agarbattis a day. So.
Listen, guys, and if all this praying has led to 6 billion prayers, it clearly works. Okay, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you all
Thank
so much.
you so much. It was such a fun, interactive session with you, sir. Indeed, a pleasure. Let's have the small token of appreciation from the entire team of Afaqs. Let's have the biggest round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys love the session, let's make some noise and let's give it up to Mr. Arjun Ranga, CEO and Managing Director from N. Ranga Rao & Sons, Cycle Pure Agarbattis. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.